I can't trust you, Rotten Tomatoes. I just can't, not after what I just saw. Hello and welcome back to the Brandon Can Win channel. And today we're going to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie. It came out today of this recording and I saw it, and yeah, I'm going to review it. I really haven't done a video game movie review on this channel, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Let me give it a little shot, and if I do bad, then I'll never do it again. I really wanted to talk about this movie. I'm going to be as spoiler-free as I possibly can. I will say I will probably bring up stuff from the trailers and what has been shown on a Nintendo Direct, but that's pretty much as far as I'll go. So the basic plot of the movie is Mario and Luigi end up in the world where the Mushroom Kingdom is, and they have to team up with Princess Peach, Toad, and Donkey Kong to take down Bowser from taking over the world. Pretty much the plot of the first Super Mario Bros. Game and the first Super Mario Bros. Movie from the 90s. There's a little bit more that goes on into the plot, but that would, I think, end up kind of in spoiler territory. So I'm just not gonna say any more than that. That's just the simple premise of the movie, is essentially the origin story for Super Mario, the Super Mario Brothers. So one of the controversial things from this movie when it was first announced was the voice acting, the voice cast. Essentially, this is what the internet thought when they saw the voice actors.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit.
But some of them proved them wrong. Some of them actually kind of came true though. So let's go through some of the voice cast and pretty much say how they go. So Chris Pratt as Mario. This was the big one. This was the one that a lot of people were upset about because of the fact that Charles Martinet, he is in the movie, but he just kind of does cameos and he's not the voice of Mario. And the fact is that Charles Martinet is a very prominent voice actor. He's done a lot of different voices than just Mario, and he could just easily put on a Brooklyn accent like that. Like, I mean, it's not that tough. That's kind of the, by the way, that's kind of the route they went with the voices of Mario and Luigi, is the Brooklyn accent. But yeah, Chris Pratt, I think, needs an apology. I feel bad for him because everyone was like just shitting on him so much, when really he was just doing a job, and he actually did the job pretty good. Like, he plays this guy pretty well. Like, it fits. It actually matches. So, yeah. Charlie Day, I knew this from, like, the first time we heard him scream in, like, the first trailer that they showed. I knew Charlie Day was the embodiment of Luigi. He just is Luigi. He fits perfectly. I mean, yeah, he just is perfect for the role. Like, I don't think there's anyone ever denying that either. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad makes him so much more tolerable. I am so sorry if you love his voice from the games, but to me, I just hate it. I am not a fan of video game Toad. I just am not. But in the movie, I really do enjoy his voice, and yeah, it's really good. I'm also surprised at how much of a big character they actually made Toad, and I think there's a little jingle that they play that alludes that he might, in the future movie, maybe become Captain Toad, but I won't talk more on that. And Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong is actually a very interesting thing, because in video games, Donkey Kong doesn't really talk at all. He just makes monkey sounds, ape sounds. So when Seth Rogen talked, and like, I could see it if Donkey Kong spoke in the games. He would sound kind of like Seth Rogen. Like, I feel like the voice for Donkey Kong really matches with Seth Rogen. It fits perfectly. So yeah, well done to Seth Rogen for making an ape sound like how he would talk if he could talk human language. Some people really didn't do as well as the others, unfortunately. I feel like Anya Taylor-Joy's Peach was pretty bland. It wasn't really anything special. And Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, just no, it didn't work. I don't feel like Cranky Kong didn't even seem like Cranky Kong. He didn't seem as cranky as Cranky Kong is, and he didn't even sound as old as Cranky Kong does. Like, I'm not sure if it was the writing, but it just didn't work out. So I think if there's one criticism I definitely have is that Cranky Kong just didn't work. Cranky Kong wasn't necessary to be there, but at the same time it's kind of like, I don't know. Now let's talk about the standout, which is obviously Jack Black as Bowser. I feel like since he was announced, people were like at least intrigued, but then when the first trailer came out and we only heard like a few lines from Jack Black as Bowser, he kills it. And there's some scenes that like make it obvious why they chose him to be Bowser. He just really fits the role in this movie because it's perfect. He's just perfect for the role and what they kind of do with Bowser in it. But yeah, most of the cast that people thought were going to be bad were actually pretty good. And then there's some casts that just were either okay or just not good at all. But for the most part, I feel like most of the voice actors did a pretty good job all in general. I think in an interview, Chris Pratt actually said when it comes to Mario that he based it loosely off of the 90s cartoon Mario, like the Super Mario Super Show Mario, just loosely though. Which makes sense. Like he does do the Mario voice at like the very beginning of like that video game Mario voice, like the wahoo. He does that kind of like at the beginning of the movie for like briefly. But yeah, that's you'll have to see the movie, or maybe I'll make a spoiler video. I don't know. So one of the worries about this movie was that they were working with Illumination, which they brought us probably the worst thing to ever happen to humanity, which was the Minions. I despise Minions with a passion. I hate Minions. I'd rather have Rabbids like destroy my house and just like scream in my face than have to hear "ooh, banana," whatever the fuck they say. The thing about Illumination is that most of their movies look okay, but they don't look that good. If I'm gonna be honest, they look good for what they try to do, but it's not DreamWorks, it's not Disney or Pixar. It's just kind of meh. So when I saw how gorgeous the visuals were, I almost refused to believe that Illumination worked on this. And by the way, if you hate Minions as well, do not worry, do not fret. There is no Minions short at the beginning of this movie. If you're a Minions fan, sorry. Too bad. Something that I did appreciate is that there are some action sequences in this that are just like showing them side-scrolling, kind of like the side-scroller Mario kind of thing. And I think that was a really cool like nod to the Mario games for sure. There's a lot of awesome like camera angles and nods that they do in this movie that really allude back to like Mario games and even Donkey Kong games for some Donkey Kong sequences. And the last thing I really have to say when it comes to the visuals is the expressions on the characters' faces are actually really good. Like especially when Mario's doing like, there's a training sequence with Mario and he's just so expressive throughout the whole thing. It's really, really good. Now there are a lot of Easter eggs in this movie, like going back to Mario and stuff, Mario games in the past, obviously. But I think the biggest one is the soundtrack. The music, I would hear certain songs and I'd be like, wow, I remember that song from that, in that song. That song's from that game. Oh my gosh, that song's from that. Like, some I could point out is the Super Mario Bros. 3 airship theme. There was the, I think it's, I forgot what it's called, but it's Super Bell Hill. That's what it was called, from 3D World. I think Bowser's Fury's theme was in there. There was the Super Mario World Castle theme. Like, you could hear a bunch of music from different games, and it's really cool. I think the best thing about, like, making movies based on retro games is that, especially like retro games that are still ongoing, like Mario, for example, is that there's multiple generations that grew up with Mario in some form. Like, you have people who are probably, I think, in their 40s now, who grew up with the original Super Mario Brothers, and they played like the older games. You have people who are about my age who grew up with like Super Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy. Then you have like the kids who grew up with 3D World and Odyssey. And like if you've played any Mario game pretty much, there's something there for you to like enjoy. Like there's so many Easter eggs in this. It's insane. And then the music and just like, yeah. It's a very cute movie. It's definitely aimed towards kids, but I would say specifically it's aimed towards kids and Mario and Nintendo fans. I would say this. I feel like the only reason you would walk out of the theater, walk out of this movie, would be if you went in here knowing nothing about Mario and knowing nothing about Nintendo, or you just don't like the idea of kids movies in general, then you'd probably walk out. But if you are a Nintendo fan, and a Mario fan, you grew up with the franchise, then it's definitely a fun watch, and I 100% recommend it. And yeah, I might even go see it again. It was really good. I loved it. So that was my first video game movie review. I hope I did all right. I just have like some loose notes and that I put down, and I just kind of threw this video together because I really wanted to talk about it, because I love Nintendo. I really like seeing when video game movies succeed like this one did, and like the Sonic ones do. If you want me to talk about the Sonic ones, I will. I feel like the Uncharted movie did alright, but you know what? I'll talk about those movies if you guys want me to. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell when you do. And yeah, so long and good night.